Did you know that the way you sleep tonight could decide whether you wake up refreshed or not wake up at all? I know that sounds dramatic, but stay with me. Every night, millions of people lie down in bed, thinking they're giving their brain a break. But what if, instead of healing, your brain is slowly starving, just because of how your head hits the pillow? Let me ask you something. Have you ever woken up with a strange numbness in your arm, a pounding headache, or a wave of dizziness you couldn't explain? Maybe you chalked it up to age or a bad dream. But what if your sleeping position was quietly putting pressure on your arteries, blocking blood flow to your brain, and silently increasing your risk of stroke? I'm not trying to scare you, but as someone who has spent years studying the brain, I've seen far too many patients suffer, not because of what they did during the day, but how they slept at night. In this video, we're going to explore the most dangerous sleeping positions, habits you might have had for decades without knowing they could be hurting you. But we're not stopping there. You'll also learn how small changes in the way you sleep can protect your brain, your heart, and your future. So if you or someone you love is over 60, this video might just be the wake-up call that changes everything. Drop a 1 in the comments if you sleep on your side, or a 0 if you sleep on your back or stomach. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. We're here to keep your brain sharp and your body strong. Now let's talk about the first sleeping habit that might be doing more harm than good. Let's start with a sleeping habit that seems harmless but could be silently dangerous: lying on one side all night without switching. It might feel cozy, especially if you've found your side after years of habit. But here's what many people don't realize. When you stay on one side for too long, you can actually compress the carotid artery on that side of your neck. That artery is a major highway for blood going to your brain. When it's squished for hours, the brain on that side might not get the oxygen it needs. I once had a patient, a 67-year-old man who always slept on his side. He'd wake up almost every morning with tingling in his arm and half of his face feeling numb. He thought it was just poor circulation. But when we scanned his neck, we found plaque buildup in that carotid artery, just enough that, when he slept on it all night, blood flow dropped significantly. He was at serious risk for a stroke, all because of a position he thought was safe. Even if you don't have artery blockages, lying on one side too long can still affect your nerves and circulation. You might notice that your arm falls asleep more easily, or that your hip aches more on one side. Those are warning signs. So, what can you do? Try alternating sides through the night, or place a supportive pillow behind your back so you're less likely to stay stuck on one side. If you sleep with a partner, let them know to give you a gentle nudge if you've been in one position too long. Now, let's move to another common habit, one that's as simple as your pillow height, but could be making you dizzy by morning. You might love that fluffy high pillow that cradles your head just right, but if it's too high, it could be bending your neck in a way that restricts blood flow to your brain. Specifically, it can compress the vertebral arteries that run through your spine and feed your brainstem. Imagine this. Your head is tilted forward for 7 or 8 hours straight, like you've been staring down at your phone all night. That's what sleeping with a high pillow does to your neck. The result? You might wake up feeling dizzy, lightheaded, or like your brain is in a fog. One of my patients, a 72-year-old woman who loved her thick memory foam pillow, kept waking up with spinning sensations. She thought it was vertigo. But when we adjusted her pillow to a lower, more neutral height, just enough to keep her head aligned with her spine, those dizzy mornings nearly disappeared. And it's even riskier if you have narrowing in your neck arteries or cervical spine issues, which become more common with age. That extra tilt from the pillow puts stress on already sensitive structures. It's like kinking a garden hose. Water still flows, but barely. What can you do? Aim for a pillow that supports your neck's natural curve without pushing your chin toward your chest. A good rule of thumb is to lie on your back and check whether your nose is in line with your sternum. If your chin is dropping too low, your pillow's probably too high. All right, now that we've handled pillow height, let's move into a sleeping position. Many people don't even realize could limit how much oxygen gets to your brain while you sleep. You're curled up in a tight little ball, knees tucked to your chest, head bent forward. It feels safe, maybe even comforting. That's the fetal position, and while it might remind you of being snug in the womb, it can actually limit how well your body, and especially your brain, gets blood and oxygen during sleep. When you fold yourself up like that, you're squeezing your chest cavity and reducing the space your lungs have to expand. That means less oxygen getting into your bloodstream and, ultimately, less reaching your brain. And if your pillow is also too high, bending your neck forward even more. It's a double hit to circulation. A woman I worked with, 69 years old, always slept tightly curled on her side. Every morning she'd wake up with numb fingers and dizzy spells. We tried everything: diet, hydration, but nothing worked until she changed her sleep position. She started sleeping with a flatter pillow and placed a small cushion between her knees to help her stay slightly straighter. Within a week, the numbness stopped. Sleeping curled up may also restrict your nerves, leading to that pins and needles feeling in your hands or feet. If you've ever woken up feeling like your arm doesn't belong to you, this could be why. To help, try lying on your side with a gentle bend in your knees instead of curling into a tight ball. Support your back with a pillow and keep your head aligned with your spine. It doesn't have to feel like military posture, just open enough so your lungs and blood vessels can do their jobs. Next, let's talk about a surprising mistake that many people make even when they sleep on their back, and how it can silently trigger headaches and sleep disruptions. Sleeping on your back is often praised as the healthiest position, and in many ways, it is. But there's a big catch. If your neck isn't properly supported, this good position can turn into a bad one quickly. When your pillow doesn't cradle the natural curve of your neck, your head may tilt backward or slide sideways, putting subtle but continuous stress on the blood vessels at the base of your skull. These tiny vessels are incredibly important. They help regulate blood flow to the parts of your brain that manage balance, sleep, and coordination. If they're strained or compressed during the night, it can lead to headaches, dizziness, or even sleep disturbances. I've had patients who thought they had insomnia. Turns out, it was just poor neck support causing micro-awakenings all night long. One man, in his early 70s, had a habit of sleeping on his back without any real neck support. His pillow was flat, and his head drooped backward. He'd wake up exhausted, with a tight feeling at the base of his skull. We switched his pillow to one designed for cervical support, just enough to keep his head and neck aligned. Within days, his headaches began to ease, and his sleep improved dramatically. If you're a back sleeper, take a moment to feel how your head rests on your pillow. Look for a contoured pillow that fits the curve of your neck, keeping your head in line with your spine. This simple shift can make all the difference, especially if you've had issues with blood flow or minor strokes in the past. Now, let's explore a position that's especially risky, not just for your brain, but for your heart and lungs too. A sleeping position that many people turn to for comfort, especially when dealing with back pain. But it's actually one of the worst for your brain: sleeping on your stomach. It might feel like you're relieving pressure on your back, but the cost is high, especially for your neck, heart, and lungs. When you sleep on your stomach, your head has to twist to one side, and it stays that way for hours. This constant twisting can compress the carotid artery, the main blood vessel that carries oxygen-rich blood to your brain. I had a patient in his mid-60s who always slept on his stomach, thinking it helped with his snoring. Over time, he started experiencing early morning chest tightness and brain fog. After a detailed checkup, we discovered that his stomach sleeping habit was straining both his neck and his breathing. His blood pressure was high, and oxygen flow to the brain was lower than it should have been during sleep. This position also puts pressure on your chest, making it harder for your lungs to fully expand. Less oxygen in your bloodstream means less oxygen reaches your brain. If you already have high blood pressure or hardened arteries, this lack of oxygen can be especially dangerous, raising your stroke risk significantly. If you absolutely must sleep on your stomach, try placing a thin pillow under your hips and using no pillow or a very flat one under your head. Better yet, train yourself to sleep on your side or back. It might take time, but your brain and heart will thank you. Next, let's uncover a strange habit that might seem harmless, even cozy, but could be turning your bed into a silent trap for your brain overnight. Here's a habit that feels cozy on a cold night, but could be silently putting your brain at risk: sleeping with your head completely under the blanket. It sounds harmless, even comforting. But when you pull the covers over your head, you're trapping exhaled carbon dioxide and limiting fresh oxygen intake. That creates a mini greenhouse of stale air, exactly the kind of environment your brain doesn't want while it's trying to rest and repair. I once spoke with a 70-year-old man who liked to hide under his blanket during winter. He said it helped him fall asleep faster, but every morning he woke up groggy and sluggish. When we measured oxygen levels in his bedroom and under the blanket, it was clear. The CO2 levels were significantly higher beneath the covers. His brain was working harder to function on less oxygen. Low oxygen, or hypoxia, thickens your blood and increases the chance of forming clots, especially during sleep, when circulation naturally slows. This raises your risk of nighttime strokes. Plus, high carbon dioxide levels can disturb sleep quality and cause morning headaches or confusion. To stay safe and warm, use a layered blanket system and keep your nose and mouth exposed to fresh air. If your room is cold, consider a heated mattress pad or a breathable wool blanket instead of burying your face. Your brain needs oxygen more than warmth. Now let's take a closer look at a habit that might seem harmless: falling asleep in your favorite recliner, but could quietly threaten circulation, especially in older adults. Something that feels relaxing, even luxurious: falling asleep in a recliner chair. Maybe you've dozed off during a late-night movie or taken your afternoon nap in that favorite seat. But sleeping in a semi-sitting position night after night can quietly increase your risk of dangerous blood clots, especially if you're over 60. Here's why. When your legs are lower than your heart for hours, gravity pulls blood downward, slowing circulation in your lower limbs. This makes it easier for blood to pool and clot, especially in deep veins, a condition called deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. If one of those clots travels to your lungs or brain, it can be life-threatening. I remember a patient, 74 years old, who slept in his recliner every night because of back pain. He felt more comfortable upright, but after a few months, he developed swelling in his left leg and shortness of breath. A scan revealed a clot had formed in his calf and moved to his lungs. He had no idea the recliner was the culprit. Even if you feel fine, this position also reduces blood flow back to the heart and brain. That means less oxygen delivery and a higher stroke risk over time. It's especially risky if you sit still for long periods and don't move your legs. If you need to nap in a recliner, try to limit it to short periods. Use a footrest to elevate your legs and flex your ankles every 30 minutes. But for overnight sleep, the best place is still your bed. Flat, supportive, and made for recovery. Next, let's talk about a side that seems harmless, but may quietly increase brain toxin buildup while you sleep. Now, here's something surprising. Not all side sleeping is created equal. While sleeping on your left side may have some benefits, consistently sleeping on your right side might do more harm than you think. It turns out, your body's internal structure isn't exactly symmetrical, and the way you sleep can impact how well blood and fluids circulate, especially in your brain. When you lie on your right side for long periods, it can increase pressure on the inferior vena cava, the large vein that returns blood to your heart. That pressure can slightly reduce overall circulation, including the blood flowing up to your brain. But it gets more concerning when you consider what happens inside your head. Studies have shown that right-side sleeping may reduce the efficiency of the brain's lymphatic system, a crucial system that clears out waste and toxins during sleep. One study from Stony Brook University found that rodents who slept on their right side had slower clearance of harmful proteins linked to neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. I had a patient, 68 years old, who always slept on her right side. Over time, she noticed increased brain fog and memory slips. After discussing this with her neurologist, she gradually shifted to sleeping on her left side with a body pillow. Her mental clarity improved in just a few weeks. If you're a dedicated right-side sleeper, try alternating sides or use pillows to encourage a more balanced position. Supporting your top leg and shoulder can help make the left side feel just as comfortable. Now, let's look at another hidden danger: cold air and poor neck support that could quietly shrink your brain's oxygen supply overnight. Have you ever fallen asleep in a chilly room without thinking twice about it? Many folks prefer sleeping in cooler temperatures. It's true that a slightly cool environment can promote better rest. But when your neck isn't properly supported and the room is too cold, you might be setting yourself up for a night of poor circulation and even higher stroke risk. Here's the science behind it. Cold temperatures cause your blood vessels to constrict, a natural response to preserve body heat. But when this vasoconstriction happens around your neck and head, it can limit how much oxygen-rich blood reaches your brain. If your neck is also unsupported, those vessels might be slightly kinked or stretched in ways that make things worse. I once had a patient, a 66-year-old woman, who loved sleeping near an open window, even in winter. She'd often wake up with a stiff neck and throbbing headaches. After adjusting her sleeping setup, adding neck support, and warming the room slightly, her symptoms reduced significantly. The key here is balance. A room that's too cold, combined with poor posture, can become a silent threat overnight. Your muscles tense up, circulation slows, and your brain doesn't get the oxygen it needs to stay healthy. So, what can you do? Keep your bedroom around 65 degrees Celsius, but use a light scarf or soft neck wrap if you tend to get chilly. Most importantly, use a pillow that supports your cervical spine. You want your neck to feel gently cradled, not strained. Sleep isn't just rest. It's when your brain does its most important work: recovery, repair, and renewal. But here's something many people overlook. The way you sleep can either support that healing process or quietly interfere with it. The position of your head, the angle of your neck, even the side you sleep on. They all matter more than you think. The best part? You're in control. With just a few small adjustments, like choosing a better pillow, switching sides, or avoiding poor habits before bed, you can protect your brain while you sleep. So tonight, take a moment before drifting off. Ask yourself, is my neck supported? Am I breathing freely? Is my spine aligned? These small, quiet checks may be your best line of defense against stroke, memory fog, or waking up feeling off. If even one idea here helped you, drop a 1 in the comments to let us know. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365 for more brain-smart sleep tips that help you live stronger age better, and protect your most vital organ, your brain. Sleep well, friend. You truly deserve it. You might be doing everything right, eating well, staying active, and exercising regularly. But what if I told you that some common workouts could quietly increase your risk of stroke? Yes, even exercises that look safe, like sit-ups, planks, or yoga, can turn dangerous if you're over 60 and not careful. It's not about avoiding movement. It's about knowing which movements to watch out for. As we age, our bodies respond differently. Blood pressure shifts faster. Balance isn't as reliable. And certain motions can strain your brain, blood vessels, or heart more than you realize. A quick bend, a wrong twist, or even holding your breath during a workout. These things can trigger dizziness, sudden drops in blood pressure, or worse, a stroke. I've seen too many seniors fall victim to this. People who thought they were being healthy. That's why today, I want to walk you through 9 specific exercises that may be putting your brain and body at risk, especially if you have high blood pressure or poor circulation. If you're over 60 or care about someone who is, this video could be a lifesaver. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever felt dizzy or lightheaded after a workout? And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. We're here to help you move safer, feel stronger, and stay independent for years to come. Now, let's start with the first hidden danger, an everyday stretch that seems harmless, but could cause sudden drops in blood pressure. Let's start with something incredibly common, bending forward quickly from a standing position. You know, maybe to pick something up off the floor, or to tie your shoe in a rush. It seems like no big deal, right? But for older adults, this one simple movement can lead to a dangerous chain reaction inside the body. When you bend forward fast, especially without bracing yourself or bending your knees, blood rushes to your head very suddenly. In younger people, the body adjusts pretty quickly. But as we age, our cardiovascular system doesn't compensate as fast. That sudden change can cause a quick drop in blood pressure, what doctors call orthostatic hypotension. The result? You feel dizzy, lightheaded, or completely lose your balance. Some people black out entirely. And if you hit your head on the way down, the danger becomes even greater. A study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that older adults are significantly more prone to blood pressure drops after rapid positional changes. This isn't just a minor inconvenience, it's a known risk factor for stroke and head injury. I remember talking with a gentleman who tripped in his garage while reaching for a box. He bent forward too fast, got dizzy, fell, and ended up with a concussion. All from what seemed like an everyday movement. Here's what you can do. When you need to bend forward, always take a second. Plant your feet firmly, bend your knees slightly, and come down slowly. Use a stable surface for support if you need it. There's absolutely no shame in that. Now, let's move gently from the floor to something just a bit higher up, your neck. Because what you do with it might surprise you even more. Have you ever tried to loosen up a stiff neck by giving it a quick twist or turning it side to side rapidly? It might feel good in the moment, like you're shaking off tension, but it can be much more dangerous than you think. You see, inside your neck run 2 very important arteries called the vertebral arteries. They supply blood directly to the brain, particularly the parts that control balance and coordination. When you whip your neck around too quickly, or do it repeatedly, especially in a strong or exaggerated way, you can actually compress or even slightly tear those arteries. That's not just uncomfortable. It can severely reduce the flow of oxygen-rich blood to your brain. There was a case reported in the New England Journal of Medicine where a man in his 60s experienced a stroke just minutes after rapidly twisting his neck during a stretching routine. It wasn't during a car accident or a fall. It was during a stretch. That's how delicate these vessels can be as we age. I met a woman at a senior center who used to do daily neck rolls first thing every morning. After a few weeks, she noticed she was getting dizzy spells and even blurred vision. Her doctor traced it back to those movements. She switched to gentler, slower head turns, and the symptoms disappeared. So here's the better way. Always move your head slowly and deliberately. No jerking, no snapping motions. If your neck feels stiff, apply warm compresses, gentle stretches, or even better, get it checked by a physical therapist who understands age-related vascular risks. Ready to hear about something many people think is making them stronger, but could be straining their brain instead? Let's talk weights. Weightlifting can be a fantastic way to stay strong and independent as we age, but only if it's done safely. One of the most overlooked dangers is lifting weights that are too heavy, or worse, holding your breath while doing it. When you lift something heavy and instinctively hold your breath, what's called the Valsalva maneuver, you're actually spiking the pressure inside your chest and head. Your blood pressure can shoot up rapidly, placing intense strain on the arteries in your brain. For older adults, especially those with high blood pressure or weaker blood vessels, that spike can be enough to trigger a stroke or even cause a vessel to rupture. In fact, a study from the American Heart Association showed that sudden blood pressure surges during heavy lifting were linked to an increased risk of intracranial hemorrhages, particularly in older gym-goers. I once heard from a retired firefighter who was staying active at his local gym. One day, he decided to challenge himself with a heavier barbell. Mid-lift, he felt a rush to his head, got dizzy, and nearly blacked out. His doctor later told him he had dangerously spiked his blood pressure by holding his breath under strain. So here's what you should do. Lift weights that feel challenging but manageable. Breathe continuously. Exhale as you lift. Inhale as you lower. And if you're unsure, always work with a trainer who understands how aging bodies respond differently. Now, if you've ever tried those upside-down yoga poses for better circulation, the next part might surprise you even more. Upside-down yoga poses like the shoulder stand or headstand might look graceful and relaxing, but they can be seriously risky, especially for older adults. These poses flip your entire body, sending a rush of blood toward your head. While some people claim it boosts circulation, the truth is, it can dangerously increase pressure inside your skull. When you're in an inverted position, the blood flow to your brain intensifies, and if you already have high blood pressure or weaker blood vessels, which is more common after age 60, that extra pressure can overwhelm your system. The risk isn't just theoretical. Neurologists have documented cases where seniors experienced vision disturbances, severe headaches, and even mini-strokes after attempting inverted poses without supervision. I remember a woman from a yoga class who proudly practiced shoulder stands every morning. But after a few weeks, she started getting pounding headaches and felt pressure behind her eyes. Her doctor warned her. The increased intracranial pressure from those poses was putting her at real risk. She switched to gentler stretches and noticed the symptoms disappeared. Instead of poses that flip you upside down, try legs up the wall. It's a calming alternative that supports circulation without the danger. And always let your instructor know about any medical conditions before starting a new routine. They can suggest modifications that work with your body, not against it. Now that we've looked at the risks of going upside down, let's take a jog forward, literally. Because when you exercise matters just as much as how you do it. Evening workouts can feel peaceful. The gym is quieter, the air cooler, and it's a great way to shake off the day's stress. But for older adults, pushing yourself too hard late at night, especially with intense routines like high-speed running or HIIT, can backfire in serious ways. Here's why. Intense exercise stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, which is like flipping the body's on switch. That's fine during the day, But doing it too close to bedtime means your heart rate stays elevated, your blood pressure spikes, and your body stays in a state of alertness, exactly when it should be winding down. For people over 60, this late-night pressure can increase the risk of nighttime hypertension, a known factor in stroke while sleeping. A study from hypertension research found that late-evening high-intensity workouts can raise nighttime blood pressure levels significantly, even in healthy adults. That's why doctors now often recommend morning or early afternoon workouts for older individuals. I spoke with a retired teacher who used to run every night after dinner. Over time, she noticed she wasn't sleeping well, and once she even woke up dizzy with a racing heart. Her cardiologist suggested switching her routine to earlier in the day, and the change made a world of difference. If you enjoy nighttime movement, opt for gentle stretching, slow walks, or calming yoga. Save the cardio for the daylight hours when your body is better equipped to handle it. Next up, let's focus on something small but powerful: your core. And no, it's not about getting a six-pack. Crunches and sit-ups. Those classic core exercises many of us have done for decades. They might seem like a straightforward way to strengthen your midsection, but for older adults, doing them too quickly or too often can cause more harm than good. When you perform rapid abdominal movements, especially without proper breathing, it creates a sudden spike in pressure inside your chest and abdomen. This can interfere with normal blood flow, especially to the brain. It's a bit like squeezing a garden hose. The flow gets restricted, and that momentary pressure can affect your circulation in surprising ways. Researchers from the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that rapid abdominal exercises in older adults can lead to decreased cerebral blood flow, particularly when done without rest between sets. That drop in oxygen to the brain can leave you feeling dizzy, disoriented, or even faint. A gentleman I met at a local wellness class shared how he felt lightheaded every time he did sit-ups during his morning routine. His doctor explained that the pressure from quick crunches was disrupting blood flow to his head. He swapped them out for slower core movements and hasn't had a dizzy spell since. So, what's the safer option? Try controlled core exercises like pelvic tilts or seated marches. Focus on steady breathing. Exhale with effort. Inhale on release. And never rush the motion. Now that we've grounded ourselves with the core, let's step onto the treadmill, but with a word of caution before you press that speed button. Using a treadmill seems like a safe, weather-proof way to stay fit. But for seniors, there's one common mistake that turns this tool into a serious hazard: running too fast without holding on to the side rails. As we get older, our reaction time slows, and coordination isn't what it used to be. Moving fast on a treadmill without support increases the risk of stumbling, sometimes with devastating results. A single misstep can send you flying, leading to painful injuries like fractures, head injuries, or in high-risk individuals, even triggering cardiovascular strain or stroke. Health agencies, including data from the NIH, have highlighted that seniors suffer a higher rate of treadmill accidents than any other age group. And one major factor? Not using the handrails. In fact, even brief moments of unsteady movement while running can sharply raise heart strain, especially in adults over 60. I recall a man in his 70s who insisted on jogging hands-free every morning. One day, a minor slip turned major. He hit the deck hard and left the gym with a head injury. His physician later said that simply gripping the rails, even occasionally, would likely have kept him on his feet. So, what's the smarter approach? Keep your pace steady, not fast. And if you feel the slightest imbalance, grab the rails. Want an effective alternative? Walk at an incline. You'll get the cardio boost without risking a dangerous fall. Coming up next, we're switching gears. This time, it's not speed that's the problem. It's stillness. Let's talk about the plank. Planks are praised as one of the best full-body exercises. They build strength, improve posture, and don't require any equipment. But holding a plank too long, especially while holding your breath, can quietly place dangerous pressure on your cardiovascular system. When you're in a plank, your muscles are working hard to stabilize your entire body. That effort increases intra-abdominal and intrathoracic pressure, basically, pressure inside your belly and chest. If you're also holding your breath, which many people do without realizing it, you cut off a steady flow of oxygen and raise your blood pressure at the same time. It's like tightening a valve that your heart has to push against. The Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research published findings showing that breath holding during isometric exercises like planks caused significant spikes in systolic blood pressure, even in fit older adults. Over time, or even during a single long hold, this can stress your heart and reduce blood flow to the brain. I remember a neighbor who loved challenging herself with long plank holds. She'd time herself, aiming for 2 minutes or more. But she started experiencing chest tightness and headaches after each session. Once she started taking slower breaths and cutting her time in half, those symptoms stopped completely. So if you enjoy planks, great. Just modify them. Aim for shorter durations with proper breathing. Try 20-30-second holds with deep, steady inhales and exhales. And always listen to your body. Now we'll shift gears a bit and stand back up, because the next movement involves something you probably do every day without thinking twice. Standing up and sitting down sounds simple enough. It's something we all do dozens of times a day. But doing it too quickly, especially in repetition, like during squats, can catch your body off guard and lead to a sudden drop in blood pressure. This phenomenon is called postural hypotension, and it's especially common in older adults. When you change positions quickly, your blood needs to adjust to the shift in gravity. For younger people, the body reacts almost instantly. But as we age, that adjustment slows down. Your brain may not get enough blood fast enough, leaving you feeling dizzy, wobbly, or worse, causing a fall. It's not about how strong your legs are. It's how your cardiovascular system keeps up with movement. A study in the Journal of the American Medical Association found that older adults who frequently changed positions rapidly were significantly more likely to report dizziness and were at greater risk for falls resulting in head injuries or fractures. A friend of mine once added fast-paced squats to his morning routine, thinking it would help him stay agile. But he started having dizzy spells that left him unsteady for the rest of the day. Once he slowed things down, taking a moment to pause between movements, his symptoms disappeared. Here's a safer approach. When doing sit-to-stand exercises or squats, rise slowly. Take a breath. Let your body catch up before moving again. Hold on to a sturdy chair or surface if needed. Balance is your friend, not a sign of weakness. Now that we've explored all these hidden dangers, let's take a deep breath together and wrap things up with something just as important: hope. So here we are, having walked through the quiet risks that can hide in even the most common exercises. It's not about fear, it's about awareness, about respecting the changes our bodies go through, and about learning how to move with care and confidence. Staying active is one of the best gifts you can give yourself. But as we get older, the goal shifts from pushing harder to moving smarter. Every step, every breath, every stretch can be a celebration of life, if done with intention. You don't need to keep up with younger folks or push past your limits. You just need to listen to your body and honor it. I hope this video helped you see your daily routines in a new light. Maybe you recognized some habits in yourself or in someone you care about. That awareness is the first step towards safer, stronger movement. And if one simple change keeps you safe, upright, and thriving, That's a win worth everything. So let's keep showing up for ourselves. Let's keep learning, adjusting, and choosing health every day. If this video helped you, drop a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365 for more tips to stay strong and safe after 60. Until next time, take care of that amazing body of yours. It's gotten you this far, and it deserves a little extra love. Have you ever woken up feeling fine, only to suddenly feel dizzy, weak, or just not quite right? If you're over 60, I want you to know, that moment is not something to brush off. Because for many older adults, stroke doesn't come with a loud warning. It often starts quietly, with small signs that seem harmless, until one day your body won't move, your speech slurs, or your memory just slips away. Hi, I'm here not to scare you, but to gently share something that could protect your brain, your independence, and your future. You see, many strokes don't happen by chance. They build up slowly from simple morning habits we repeat every day, habits that feel normal, even healthy, but may be quietly harming your brain's circulation. And here's the good news. Just a few small changes each morning can lower your risk dramatically. In today's video, we'll walk through 7 common morning mistakes that many seniors make without realizing it. And more importantly, we'll talk about what to do instead to keep your brain sharp and protected. If any part of this speaks to you or reminds you of something you've felt, please leave a comment below. You're not alone, and your story might help someone else too. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365. We're building a warm, supportive space where seniors like you can learn, share, and thrive together. Let's begin with the first morning habit that may be putting quiet pressure on your brain. Let me ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, do you jump right out of bed without thinking twice? If so, you're not alone. It feels natural. The sun is up, the day is starting, and you want to get moving. But here's something many seniors don't realize. Standing up too quickly right after waking can silently put your brain at risk. See, after a full night's sleep, your body is in a calm, low-pressure state. Blood flow slows down, especially to your brain. And when you suddenly shift from lying down to standing up, your blood pressure can drop sharply. This is called orthostatic hypotension, and it's far more common and dangerous than people think. You might feel a little lightheaded, maybe a bit unsteady. Some people even feel like they're about to faint. That brief moment may seem minor, but it means your brain is not getting enough oxygen. And for those of us with aging blood vessels or poor circulation, that sudden shift could trigger a mini stroke, or worse, a full-blown stroke. The solution? It's simple, and it takes less than 2 minutes. When you first open your eyes, don't rush. Take a few slow breaths. Stretch your hands, your feet. Sit up slowly. Then place your feet on the floor and pause for a moment. Let your body adjust. Let your brain catch up. If you've ever felt dizzy in the morning, or your balance felt a little off, that wasn't just old age. It was your body trying to warn you. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever experienced morning dizziness or felt faint when standing up? Share your story in the comments. Someone else may be feeling the same way and not know what it means. Taking just 1 to 2 minutes to wake up gently could protect your brain for years to come. It's not about being slow. It's about being smart. In the next part, we'll talk about one common thing most people skip in the morning, even though their brain is begging for it. Can I share a small but powerful habit that many people over 60 often forget, even though it could protect their brain for years to come? It's this. Drink a glass of water first thing in the morning. I know, it sounds simple. Maybe too simple. But here's why it matters. When you sleep for 7 or 8 hours, your body loses fluids through breathing and perspiration. You're not drinking anything during that time, so by the time you wake up, you're already slightly dehydrated. And your brain, which is made up of about 75% water, feels it more than any other part of your body. Now, imagine starting your day with thickened blood, lower circulation, and rising blood pressure, all before breakfast. That's exactly what happens when you skip water in the morning. And for seniors, it's even more concerning because dehydration has been linked to a higher risk of stroke, memory issues, and slower reaction times. What's more, if you're on medications like diuretics, which many older adults take for blood pressure or heart issues, your body is losing even more water overnight without you noticing. That first glass of water helps thin your blood naturally, improves oxygen delivery to the brain, and gently wakes up your system. It's like opening the windows and letting fresh air in. Only, this time, it's happening inside your brain. So before you reach for your coffee or tea, or take your morning pills, just pause and drink 1 full glass of room temperature water. It takes less than a minute, but your brain will thank you all day long. Have you already made this part of your morning routine? Or is this a habit you'd like to try starting tomorrow? Let me know in the comments. Your small change could inspire someone else watching this right now. And speaking of mornings, let's talk about something many people believe is healthy, but it might be quietly hurting your brain, especially if it's on your breakfast plate. What's usually on your plate in the morning? Maybe it's a bowl of cereal, a slice of toast, or a quick scrambled egg with a bit of cheese. Sounds innocent, right? But here's the part most people miss. Many common breakfast foods are loaded with hidden salt, and that quiet habit could be putting your brain at risk. See, salt isn't just about the shaker on the table. It's hidden in processed breads, instant oatmeal packets, store-bought breakfast bars, sausages, even that healthy whole grain cereal. And when you combine a salty breakfast with the natural spike in blood pressure that happens every morning, the results can be dangerous, especially for older adults. Too much sodium stiffens your blood vessels and increases pressure on the delicate capillaries in your brain. And for those who already have some level of hypertension, this morning overload can push things over the edge, leading to stroke, memory problems, or even sudden dizziness and confusion. But here's the hopeful part. You can change this without giving up the foods you enjoy. Instead of instant oats with flavor packets, try plain oatmeal topped with fresh berries or a few unsalted nuts. Instead of sausage or cheese-heavy eggs, go for boiled eggs with avocado or a slice of whole grain toast. Even small swaps like this can bring your sodium down by hundreds of milligrams. Experts recommend keeping your entire breakfast under 300–400 milligrams of sodium. But most processed foods go over that in just 1 serving. And the tricky part is, many of these items don't even taste very salty. So next time you're reading a label or making breakfast, take a second look. Your brain will thank you. Have you ever noticed how much salt is in your breakfast foods? Or have you made any low-sodium swaps that work for you? Share your ideas in the comments. Your tip might help someone else take a healthier step forward. Now, speaking of morning habits, there's one drink that many people rely on to wake up, but when taken the wrong way, especially on an empty stomach, it could be doing more harm than good. Be honest. Is coffee the first thing you reach for in the morning? If it is, you're definitely not alone. For many of us, that warm cup of coffee feels like the only way to truly wake up. But if you're over 60, there's something important you should know. Drinking too much coffee on an empty stomach can quietly raise your risk of stroke. Here's why. When you drink coffee first thing, especially without any food in your system, your body reacts strongly. Caffeine increases adrenaline, raises your heart rate, and causes your blood vessels to constrict. All of that means your blood pressure can spike quickly. And for seniors, whose arteries may already be less flexible, that sudden spike can strain the brain's delicate blood vessels, increasing your risk for mini-strokes, abnormal heart rhythms, and even memory issues over time. It doesn't mean you have to give up coffee entirely. Not at all. The key is timing and balance. Try this instead. Drink a glass of water first to rehydrate, then have a light, brain-friendly breakfast. Maybe a boiled egg, some fruit, or a slice of whole grain toast. After that, enjoy your coffee. Just one moderate cup, not 3 in a row. And watch the creamers and sugars too. They can sneak in extra inflammation your body doesn't need. Coffee isn't the enemy. But for those of us over 60, we have to be smarter than our habits. What worked when we were 40 may not serve us now. And if you find yourself reaching for cup after cup to fight off fatigue, it might be a sign that something else, like poor sleep or dehydration, needs attention. What's your relationship with coffee these days? Have you found a routine that works for you without overdoing it? Share your thoughts in the comments. Someone else might be wondering the same thing. And speaking of subtle warning signs, let's talk about one morning symptom many seniors ignore, even though it could be your brain's first quiet cry for help. Have you ever woken up feeling a little off, maybe a bit dizzy, or like your balance just isn't quite there? Maybe your arm feels a little weak, or your speech isn't as clear for a few minutes. It's easy to brush it off. I probably just slept wrong, or I didn't get good rest. But please, don't ignore it. Those small, quiet moments could be your brain waving a red flag. For many seniors, especially over 60, symptoms like morning dizziness, slight numbness, or a feeling of weakness can be signs of something deeper, like poor blood flow to the brain, a sudden change in blood pressure, or even a mini-stroke, also known as a TIA, transient ischemic attack. TIAs often last just a few minutes. They come and go quickly, but they are a serious warning. They often happen in the early morning when your body is adjusting from sleep, and they are one of the clearest signs that a major stroke could be on the horizon. If you notice these symptoms, don't wait and hope they disappear. Write them down. Tell your doctor. And if you're unsure whether what you felt was serious, track it. There are simple tools and apps designed to help older adults log symptoms and spot patterns. Because with stroke, every second matters. Your body is wise. When it sends you a whisper, like that moment of lightheadedness or sudden fatigue, it's trying to protect you, but only if you're listening. Have you ever had one of those mornings where something just felt off, even for a few minutes? I invite you to share your experience in the comments. It might help someone else recognize the signs and take action in time. And now, let's talk about something that happens in every senior household, yet often gets overlooked: how we take our morning medications. Because the when and how could be just as important as the pills themselves. How confident do you feel about your morning medications? Do you take them at the same time every day? With water? Or do you sometimes forget, take them late, or mix up the doses? If so, you're not alone. In fact, it's one of the most common and quietest risks to brain health in older adults. You see, many seniors take medications for blood pressure, cholesterol, or blood thinning. These aren't just routine pills. They're your brain's daily shield against stroke. And the way you take them, the timing, the dose, and even what you drink them with, can either protect you or put you at risk. Let's say you skip a dose. Maybe you were distracted or just didn't feel like taking it. Your blood pressure might spike without you knowing. Or let's say you accidentally take a double dose because you weren't sure if you already took it. That could send your pressure dangerously low or increase the risk of bleeding. Even little habits matter. Taking pills with coffee instead of water, or swallowing them without food when required, can reduce how well your body absorbs them, or lead to unexpected side effects. The good news is there are simple solutions. Use a pill organizer. Morning, noon, night. Set a reminder on your phone or smart speaker. Keep your pills near something you always do, like brushing your teeth or brewing coffee. And most importantly, never change your dose without speaking to your doctor, even if you feel fine. These meds are doing quiet, powerful work behind the scenes. Give them the best chance to do their job. Have you found a system that helps you stay on track? Maybe a routine or memory trick that works well? Share it in the comments. Your tip might be the exact help someone else has been needing. And now, let's move to one last morning habit that's often ignored, even though your body is sending a very clear message. It's something we all do. Or rather, delay doing. Going to the bathroom. Let's talk about that. Can I ask you something a little personal? Do you ever wake up and just lie there, holding it in just a little longer? Maybe you check the weather, read a few headlines, or wait until after your morning coffee. It seems harmless, right? But for those of us over 60, this small habit, holding in urine after waking, might be doing more harm than you realize. When your bladder fills up overnight and you delay going to the bathroom, your body doesn't just wait patiently. It starts to feel stressed. And when that happens, it releases cortisol and adrenaline, hormones that raise your blood pressure and tighten your blood vessels. This early morning hormone spike, paired with a full bladder, can quietly increase your stroke risk, especially if you already have high blood pressure or cardiovascular concerns. But that's not all. Holding it in also places pressure on your heart. A full bladder can even trigger abnormal heart rhythms in some older adults, especially if there are underlying issues like arrhythmia or heart valve problems. That combination, raised blood pressure and irregular heartbeat, is a perfect storm that can lead to clot formation and, eventually, a stroke. And it's so easy to prevent. Just listen to your body. When you wake up, even if you feel a mild urge, go ahead and take care of it, before checking your phone or sipping your coffee. Think of it as your first act of self-care each day. No special equipment, no complicated routines, just a quick trip to the bathroom that could help protect your brain and heart for years to come. I'd love to hear. Have you ever made a habit of delaying your morning bathroom trip? Or did something help you realize it was better to go right away? Leave a comment below. Your story might encourage someone else watching this to change a risky habit they didn't even know they had. Now that we've explored all 7 of these subtle but powerful morning habits, let's take a step back and see how they all connect, and how just a few small changes each day can help you protect your brain, your balance, and your independence for the long haul. Now you know, stroke doesn't just happen out of nowhere. It often builds up slowly through the small choices we make each morning. From skipping water, rushing out of bed, ignoring dizziness, to holding in urine, these may seem minor, but over time, they quietly wear down your brain and circulation. The good news is, you don't need to overhaul your life. Just pick 1 or 2 habits to change this week. Take your time, listen to your body, and trust that small steps can protect your memory, your balance, and your independence for years to come. If this video gave you even one helpful insight, please give it a like and share it with a friend who might need it too. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear which habit surprised you most or which one you're going to work on first. And don't forget to subscribe to Health 365 for more simple, Honest tips to support your brain and body every single day. Your mornings matter, and so does your health. Did you know that one simple choice in your kitchen could silently raise your risk of stroke, especially at night, without you even realizing it? It sounds dramatic, but for those of us over 60, our blood vessels don't bounce back the way they used to. And the foods we eat, particularly something as seemingly harmless as cheese, can either quietly protect our circulation or push it over the edge. Now, I'm not saying you need to give up cheese forever, but I am saying this: the type of cheese you eat matters, a lot more than most people think. Some of the most common cheeses Americans enjoy every day are loaded with sodium, unhealthy fats, and additives that can stiffen your arteries, spike your blood pressure, and yes, even trigger a stroke while you're fast asleep. But here's the good news. There are 4 gentle, heart-loving cheeses that can actually support your blood vessels, keep your brain sharp, and still satisfy your taste buds. All it takes is a small change. And I'm here to walk you through it. So, I want to hear from you. What's the one cheese you find yourself reaching for the most? Is it cheddar, cream cheese, mozzarella, or maybe something else entirely? Just drop a 1 in the comments if you usually eat soft cheeses, or a 0 if you prefer firm ones. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Health 365, because when it comes to protecting our hearts and minds after 60, every choice counts. Now let's take a closer look at which cheeses could be harming your health, and the ones you should be eating daily to keep your blood vessels strong. Let's start with one that's sitting in almost every American fridge: processed cheese. You know, those neatly wrapped yellow slices, or the gooey stuff that comes in a jar. They're convenient, they melt beautifully, and they've been part of quick lunches and late-night snacks for decades. But here's the part we often overlook. Processed cheese isn't real cheese. It's more like a science experiment with dairy as the base. Each slice can contain over 300 milligrams of sodium, and that's just one. Stack a couple on a sandwich, and suddenly you've consumed a third of your daily salt limit. For someone over 60, that's a big deal. Our blood vessels naturally become less elastic as we age. So when we add too much salt to the mix, our blood pressure rises, and the arteries have to work overtime. The result? A greater chance of hypertension and, in many cases, a higher risk of stroke, especially during the night, when blood pressure can spike without warning. But it's not just the salt. Processed cheeses are also full of saturated fats and emulsifiers, which contribute to plaque buildup in your arteries. The American Heart Association has consistently warned that diets high in saturated fat are closely linked to atherosclerosis, a condition where your arteries narrow and harden, reducing blood flow to the brain. A few years ago, a study published in the journal Hypertension found that older adults with high sodium and saturated fat intake had a 35% higher risk of silent strokes. Those sneaky strokes you don't even feel until later damage shows up. So what can you do instead? Start by checking your fridge. If you see a pack of individually wrapped cheese slices, consider replacing them with a more natural option. You don't have to quit cheese entirely, but choosing ones with lower sodium and no artificial additives can protect your heart and brain more than you might realize. Let's move on to another popular cheese that might surprise you with its risks. It's tangy, bold, and often considered a grown-up flavor, something many develop a taste for later in life. But while the complex flavor can be tempting, especially on salads or with crackers, blue cheese comes with hidden dangers that many over 60 should be aware of. What makes blue cheese unique is its mold, specifically the penicillium cultures that create its signature veins. But along with that strong flavor comes something called tyramine. Tyramine is a naturally occurring compound found in aged foods, and it's known to interact with blood pressure. For those with sensitive vascular systems or who are on certain medications, like MAO inhibitors, tyramine can cause dangerous spikes in blood pressure. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Hypertension showed that individuals over 60 who consumed high tyramine diets were more likely to experience sudden increases in blood pressure, sometimes within hours of eating. Combine that with already weakened or narrowed arteries, and you've got a recipe for what doctors call a hypertensive crisis, a medical emergency that can lead directly to stroke or heart attack. On top of that, blue cheese is relatively high in saturated fat. While not quite as processed as cheese slices, it still contributes to bad cholesterol levels when eaten regularly. If you already have a history of high blood pressure or vascular inflammation, the added fat in tyramine can tip the scales in the wrong direction. Now, I'm not saying you can never enjoy it again, but moderation is key. And for many, especially if you're noticing blood pressure creeping up or if you're on medication, it might be safest to skip it altogether. So next time you're building a salad or cheese board, think twice before reaching for that blue-veined wedge. There are better, gentler options for your blood vessels, and we'll get to those soon. But first, there's another creamy favorite we need to talk about. It's smooth, rich, and practically a breakfast staple for millions, especially spread thick on a warm bagel. But if you're over 60 and reaching for cream cheese every morning, it's time to pause and consider what it might be doing to your heart and arteries. Unlike harder cheeses, cream cheese contains very little protein and almost no calcium. Instead, it's mostly made up of saturated fat. Just 2 tablespoons, that's about the amount you'd spread on 1/2 of a bagel, can contain over 9 grams of fat, the majority of which is saturated. And here's the issue. When your diet is high in saturated fat and low in beneficial nutrients like calcium or protein, your LDL cholesterol, also known as the bad kind, can start to climb. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that elevated LDL cholesterol in older adults is a major predictor of atherosclerosis, which means fatty deposits begin lining your arteries. And when those arteries are in your brain or around your heart, it puts you at direct risk for stroke or heart disease. Even worse, because cream cheese is often eaten with refined carbs like white bread or bagels, it causes a spike in blood sugar, followed by a dip, which can make you feel tired, foggy, or even dizzy. That foggy-headed feeling after breakfast? It might be more than just a bad night's sleep. Now, I get it. Letting go of a favorite comfort food isn't easy. But you don't have to say goodbye forever. Instead, try swapping in a lighter, protein-rich spread like whipped cottage cheese or even ricotta with some herbs. You'll still get the creamy texture, but with a lot more nutritional support for your brain and circulation. All right, we've got one more cheese to be cautious about, especially if you like things all American. Let's talk about that next. American cheese. The bright yellow slices that melt perfectly on burgers, grilled sandwiches, and even scrambled eggs. It's practically a symbol of comfort food in the US. But if you're over 60, this familiar favorite might be doing more harm than good to your blood vessels. First, let's be clear. American cheese isn't really cheese in the traditional sense. It's what's called a processed cheese product, made from a mix of milk, whey, emulsifiers, food colorings, preservatives, and, yes, a little bit of real cheese. The result? Something that tastes creamy and melts beautifully, but offers very little nutritional value. One slice of American cheese can contain up to 400 milligrams of sodium and nearly 5 grams of saturated fat. But what's even more concerning are the synthetic additives. Some of these, like phosphates and emulsifiers, have been linked to inflammation in the blood vessels, which over time can weaken the arterial walls. For older adults, that means a higher chance of developing vascular issues that can lead to cognitive decline or stroke. A recent review published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition pointed out that people who consumed more processed cheese had a significantly higher risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those who chose natural cheeses. The reason? It's not just about fat or salt. It's about how these artificial compounds affect your entire vascular system. So if you're using American cheese daily, especially in sandwiches or melted on top of meals, it might be time to reconsider. Instead, opt for a slice of fresh mozzarella or even goat cheese. These alternatives not only offer more nutrition, but also support brain function and circulation without the chemical overload. And speaking of better options, it's time we shift gears to the good news. The 4 cheeses that can actually help protect your health, nourish your body, and even reduce your risk of stroke. Let's start with one that's creamy, light, and full of benefits for your muscles and blood pressure. A soft, mild cheese that doesn't just taste good, but actually works with your body to support better health after 60. Unlike the processed cheeses we just covered, ricotta is made by reusing the whey left behind during cheese production. That's important because whey is loaded with high-quality protein that your body absorbs easily, especially important as we get older and begin to lose muscle mass more quickly. Just half a cup of ricotta delivers around 14 grams of protein, including a rich supply of amino acids that help with muscle repair. And why does that matter for stroke and heart health? Because stronger muscles help support better balance and movement, reducing your risk of falls. But even more important, ricotta's high protein content can help regulate blood pressure. Another perk of ricotta? It's naturally low in sodium, often just 50 milligrams per serving. That means you get all the flavor and texture without pushing your daily salt intake over the edge. And let's not forget the calcium. Ricotta is rich in this essential mineral, which not only supports bones, but helps regulate the contraction and relaxation of your blood vessels. Think of it as a gentle buffer against blood pressure spikes. So, how do you add it to your day? Try a scoop of ricotta on whole grain toast, mix it into your scrambled eggs, or blend it with herbs and lemon juice for a heart-healthy spread. You'll be feeding your body and protecting your brain without giving up taste. Next, we'll move on to a cheese that's light, fresh, and surprisingly powerful for your circulation. Next up is cottage cheese, often overlooked, but one of the most nutrient-packed options you can keep in your fridge, especially if you're over 60. Its mild flavor and creamy texture make it incredibly versatile, but it's what's inside that makes it truly special for your heart and brain. Cottage cheese is rich in casein, a slow-digesting protein that helps your body stay full longer and stabilizes blood sugar. Why does that matter for your blood vessels? Because steady blood sugar means less strain on your circulatory system, reducing inflammation and oxidative stress that can age your arteries prematurely. What's more, a single cup of low-fat cottage cheese can give you about 28 grams of protein, with only a modest amount of fat. And unlike many processed cheeses, it also contains significant levels of vitamin B12 and selenium. These two nutrients are crucial for brain function and vascular health. B12 helps maintain healthy red blood cells and nerve function, while selenium acts as a powerful antioxidant, shielding your blood vessels from damage caused by free radicals. In fact, a 2020 study in Nutrients found that older adults with higher intakes of selenium had better endothelial function. That's the health of the thin layer of cells lining your blood vessels. When your endothelium works well, your arteries stay more flexible, allowing blood to flow smoothly and reducing stroke risk. Cottage cheese is also low in sodium if you choose the right version. Always look for low sodium or no salt added labels at the store, especially if you're watching your blood pressure. One of the easiest ways to enjoy it? Add a spoonful to a bowl of fresh berries and a sprinkle of ground flaxseed for a satisfying breakfast. Or mix it with sliced cucumber and olive oil as a savory snack. Now let's turn to a cheese that's easy to digest and might just surprise you with its brain-boosting power. Goat cheese. A creamy, slightly tangy option that's not just easier to digest, but also surprisingly good for your brain and energy levels. As we age, digestion becomes more sensitive, and the foods we once handled easily can start causing issues. That's where goat cheese really shines. First, it contains less lactose than cow's milk cheese, making it gentler on your stomach if you're lactose intolerant or have mild dairy sensitivity. That alone can help reduce bloating, which in turn helps ease pressure on your gut and vascular system. But the real secret to goat cheese lies in its fat content, specifically medium-chain triglycerides, or MCTs. MCTs are a type of fat that your body converts quickly into energy, especially for your brain. Studies from the Journal of Nutrition show that MCTs can help improve cognitive performance in older adults, particularly those experiencing age-related memory decline. So when you eat goat cheese, you're not just supporting your heart, you're fueling your brain as well. Another plus. Goat cheese is rich in bioavailable calcium and phosphorus, both of which are vital for keeping your blood vessels strong and responsive. That means better circulation and lower risk of those dangerous blood pressure spikes that can happen overnight. And here's something many people don't know. Goat cheese also contains compounds called oligosaccharides, which act as prebiotics. These feed the good bacteria in your gut, helping reduce systemic inflammation, a hidden factor behind many strokes and vascular diseases. If you've never tried it, start small. Crumble a bit of goat cheese over your salad, spread it on whole grain crackers, or pair it with roasted vegetables. It's creamy, satisfying, and your blood vessels will thank you. Let's finish with one more cheese that's soft, fresh, and quietly working wonders for your arteries. Last but definitely not least, let's talk about fresh mozzarella. Not the shredded kind in a bag, but the soft, white rounds you find in water-packed containers. This cheese isn't just delicious, it's one of the gentlest choices you can make for your heart and blood vessels after 60. Compared to processed or aged cheeses, it contains far less salt, often under 200 milligrams per ounce. That's a big win for anyone watching their blood pressure. And remember, when your blood pressure stays within a healthy range, you dramatically lower your risk of stroke, especially those nighttime episodes that often catch people off guard. But fresh mozzarella isn't just low in sodium. It's also rich in probiotics, those friendly bacteria that support gut health. Why should that matter to your heart? Because new research is showing a powerful connection between gut health and vascular inflammation. A study published in the journal Frontiers in Cardiovascular Medicine revealed that older adults with more diverse gut bacteria had lower levels of arterial stiffness and better overall circulation. By including probiotic-rich foods like fresh mozzarella in your diet, you're doing more than just aiding digestion. You're helping to calm systemic inflammation that quietly damages your arteries over time. This cheese also contains calcium and a modest amount of protein, making it a great choice for maintaining muscle tone and bone strength. Two things that play a bigger role in stroke prevention than people often realize. Want an easy way to enjoy it? Slice some fresh mozzarella, pair it with ripe tomatoes and a drizzle of olive oil, and you've got a simple caprese salad that's as heart-healthy as it is delicious. Now that you've met the 4 worst and 4 best cheeses for your health, it's time to tie everything together with a gentle reminder and a little encouragement for the road ahead. You don't have to give up cheese to protect your heart. You just have to choose the right kind. A small change, like swapping out a slice of processed cheese for a spoonful of ricotta or cottage cheese, can make a real difference. These choices support your blood vessels, steady your blood pressure, and give your brain the nourishment it needs to stay sharp. After 60, every bite matters a little more. But the beauty is, you're still in control. You can enjoy foods you love and still care for your health, one mindful choice at a time. So if you've found a cheese you'd like to try, or one you'll think twice about now, drop a comment below. Let's support each other on this journey. And if you'd like tips on how to pair these heart-friendly cheeses with other healthy foods, just let me know. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more simple, science-backed ways to stay strong, sharp, and thriving after 60. We're in this together. Every year, millions of seniors go in for routine checkups, thinking they're doing the right thing. But what if I told you, some of these very tests might actually raise your risk of stroke overnight? It sounds hard to believe, doesn't it? You trust your doctor. You follow every recommendation. But buried in the fine print of modern medicine are silent risks that no one warns you about. Not the news, not the brochures in your clinic, and sometimes, not even your doctor. Imagine walking out of your annual checkup, thinking everything is fine, only to experience dizziness, blurred vision, or worse, just days later. And you're left wondering, what just happened? Here's the truth. Certain diagnostic tests, especially when done too often or under certain health conditions, may quietly trigger sudden spikes in blood pressure, disrupt blood flow, and even set off a chain reaction that can end in a stroke. But don't worry. This video isn't here to scare you. It's here to inform you, so you can ask better questions, so you can protect yourself and your loved ones. Because after the age of 60, it's not just about catching problems early, it's about avoiding the ones we might accidentally cause. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover the 5 most common medical tests that may carry hidden stroke risks, especially for seniors. And more importantly, you'll learn exactly how to protect yourself before your next appointment. If you're over 60, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, drop a 0. And make sure to subscribe to Health 365, where we uncover what others won't tell you. Now, let's talk about the first test you should think twice about. Now, if you've ever had a CT scan with contrast, you might remember that warm, flushed feeling spreading through your body. That's the contrast dye doing its job, helping your doctor see your blood vessels, organs, and tissues more clearly. Sounds helpful, right? But here's what many seniors are never told. That little injection can do much more than just enhance the images. It can quietly put stress on your cardiovascular system, especially if you're over 60 and already dealing with high blood pressure, heart problems, or kidney issues. For some people, the contrast dye triggers a vasovagal reaction, a sudden drop in both heart rate and blood pressure. This can lead to dizziness, nausea, fainting, or even brief unconsciousness. But in other cases, the opposite happens. Blood pressure spikes rapidly, and fragile blood vessels can tighten or go into spasm. When that happens, the risk of a stroke or cardiac event quietly creeps in. A study in the Journal of Vascular and Interventional Radiology found that older adults who underwent contrast-enhanced CT scans had a significantly higher rate of vascular complications within 72 hours, especially those with a history of hypertension, cardiovascular disease, or impaired kidney function. In short, the more vulnerable your system, the more dangerous that contrast dye could become. Let me share a real case. An 81-year-old man went in for a routine abdominal CT scan after having some minor digestive discomfort. The scan came back normal, and he was sent home feeling fine. But 2 days later, he suffered a minor stroke. The likely cause? The contrast injection may have temporarily spiked his blood pressure, causing a clot to form and block blood flow to part of his brain. This doesn't mean CT scans with contrast are bad. Far from it. They can detect cancers, blood clots, aneurysms, things that could save your life. But the key point is this: these scans should be used wisely, not just ordered as part of a routine checkup just in case. So what can you do to protect yourself? Before agreeing to a CT scan with contrast, ask your doctor, is this scan essential, or is there a safer option for someone my age and condition? Share your full history, especially if you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, heart conditions, previous reactions to contrast dye or medications, and always ask, can we do this without contrast? Sometimes a non-contrast CT or an ultrasound can provide enough detail without the added risk. Coming up next, a common screening many seniors get, even when they feel perfectly fine, that may not be as harmless as it seems. Now, let's talk about the stress test, also called the exercise stress test. On paper, it sounds like a smart move. Put on a heart monitor, walk on a treadmill, and see how your heart performs under pressure. But if you're over 60, especially with high blood pressure or heart conditions, this simple test could turn risky. Here's why. During the test, you're asked to walk or even jog on a treadmill while your heart is closely monitored. But as the speed increases, your heart rate shoots up, your blood pressure rises, and your cardiovascular system is suddenly under intense strain. For a healthy 30-year-old, this might not be a problem. But for seniors, especially those with pre-existing conditions, it can be like lighting a fire near dry brush, potentially triggering serious complications. Some of the risks: dangerous spikes in blood pressure, sudden arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats, and in rare but real cases, small tears in fragile blood vessels, especially in the brain. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Cardiology looked at over 1,300 patients above age 65 who underwent treadmill stress tests. The results? Nearly 7% experienced harmful events during the test, including blood pressure surges and abnormal heart rhythms. And the most affected group? Those who already had vascular issues. And this isn't just theory. It's real life. One of our subscribers, Margaret from Ohio, shared her story. She's 74 and has had high blood pressure for years. Her doctor recommended a stress test just to check in. Halfway through the treadmill portion, she began to feel dizzy and had tightness in her chest. They stopped the test immediately, but by the next day, she suffered a minor stroke. Doctors believe a sudden rise in her blood pressure during the test ruptured a tiny vessel in her brain. To be clear, the test didn't directly cause the stroke, but it introduced stress to an already vulnerable system, and that's what tipped the scale. So, what's the real takeaway? Talk to your doctor. Ask, is there a safer way to evaluate my heart? In many cases, a nuclear stress test, which uses medication to simulate exercise, or a resting echocardiogram may be safer options for seniors. And if you're not currently experiencing symptoms like chest pain, shortness of breath, or fatigue, ask whether the test is truly necessary right now, or if it can wait. Coming up next, we'll explore another routine test that seems harmless, but could come with hidden risks if you're not cautious. Let's now talk about something that's become incredibly routine, especially after 60. The endoscopy. Whether it's to check your esophagus, your stomach, or even your colon, doctors often recommend it just to be safe. And sometimes that makes sense. But here's what no one tells you. If you don't really need it, and especially if it involves sedation, it might do more harm than good. For starters, most people over 60 are on some kind of medication. Blood thinners like warfarin, aspirin, or Plavix are extremely common. And when you're sedated for an endoscopy, your blood pressure and circulation naturally change. Combine that with medications that affect your blood's ability to clot, and suddenly you're looking at a higher risk for internal bleeding, or worse, brain circulation problems that can trigger a silent stroke. In 2021, a large-scale review published in the journal Gastrointestinal Endoscopy found that among patients over 65 who underwent sedated endoscopy procedures, there was a significant increase in transient ischemic attacks, TIAs, also known as mini-strokes, within the following 72 hours. These weren't major strokes, but they were warning signs that something had gone wrong in the brain's blood flow. One case that stuck with me was from a 76-year-old woman who had a routine colonoscopy with sedation. She had no symptoms going in, but 2 days later, she started slurring her speech and lost coordination. The ER confirmed she had experienced a mild stroke. The doctors believed the drop in blood pressure during sedation, along with her daily aspirin use, may have created just the right conditions for a clot to travel. Even if the procedure itself is low risk, the combination of sedation, age, and medications can create a perfect storm. Now, this doesn't mean you should avoid all endoscopies, but it does mean don't agree to one unless your doctor can clearly explain why you need it right now. If you're just getting it because it's been a few years, ask if there's a safer way to monitor your condition, especially if you have no symptoms. Always remind your doctor about any medications you're on. Ask them, will I need to stop my blood thinner before this? What are the risks of sedation for someone like me? And if you're uncomfortable with sedation, ask if the procedure can be done without it, or with lighter options. Next, we're going to talk about another test that often flies under the radar, but it's one that involves something many of us never even think about: the kidneys. MRIs are powerful tools. They help doctors see deep into your body, spot early signs of trouble, and sometimes avoid unnecessary surgeries. But when a contrast dye is added, usually to get clearer images, that's when caution is needed, especially for older adults, and especially for those with even mild kidney problems. The contrast dye used in MRIs often contains gadolinium, a heavy metal. It doesn't stay in the body. It's meant to be flushed out by your kidneys. But here's the catch. After 60, kidney function naturally slows down. And if you already have chronic kidney disease or reduced function that hasn't been diagnosed yet, your body may not eliminate the gadolinium as effectively. Over time, small amounts can linger. That lingering can be dangerous. Gadolinium retention has been linked to a rare but serious condition called nephrogenic systemic fibrosis, NSF, which causes hardening and thickening of the skin and connective tissues. In the worst cases, it can limit movement, breathing, and even lead to organ complications. But here's the part most people don't hear about. Retained gadolinium has also been found in brain tissue, and some researchers believe it may cause subtle neurological symptoms like confusion, dizziness, and disorientation, particularly in people already at risk for circulatory issues. A study published in Radiology in 2019 tracked over 2,000 patients over 65 who received contrast-enhanced MRIs. Within a week of the procedure, about 5% reported stroke-like symptoms, headaches, blurred vision, balance problems. These weren't full-blown strokes, but they were red flags. Most of these patients also had underlying kidney issues, whether diagnosed or not. Harold, a 79-year-old veteran from Arizona, went in for an MRI after struggling with persistent back pain. His doctor ordered it with contrast, just to be thorough. Harold had no idea his kidneys were weakened. 2 days after the scan, he felt lightheaded, weak, and mentally foggy, symptoms that lingered for nearly a week. It wasn't until his primary care doctor ran labs that they discovered he had stage 3 kidney disease. "No one warned me," he told us. "Had I known, I would have asked more questions. So here's what you can do. If your doctor recommends a contrast MRI, ask, "Can we do it without the contrast?" Often, the answer is yes. If contrast is truly necessary, request a kidney function test first. It's a simple blood test called a GFR, and it can give your doctor and you peace of mind. Also, let them know if you've ever had strange reactions to imaging tests in the past. Remember, the MRI itself isn't the problem. It's the extra chemical your body may not handle well. With the right precautions, you can still get the answers you need without putting your brain or kidneys at risk. Next, let's turn our attention to a test that seems harmless, even smart to do on a regular basis. But it may be steering older adults toward risky surgeries they never actually needed. The routine carotid artery ultrasound. It's non-invasive, takes just a few minutes, and doesn't involve any needles, dyes, or machines that make loud noises. Sounds like the perfect preventive test, right? But here's what most people over 60 don't know. If you don't have symptoms, and your doctor is just ordering this scan to check, this simple test might lead you down a path to surgery you never needed in the first place. The carotid arteries are the main blood vessels that deliver blood to your brain. Over time, like many vessels in the body, they can develop plaque, little buildups of cholesterol or calcium. That's normal, especially as we age. But not every bit of plaque needs to be removed. In fact, in many cases, it's safer to monitor it than to operate. Here's where things can go wrong. Let's say you get the test, and it shows some narrowing in the artery, maybe 50% or even 60%. That sounds scary, right? So your doctor refers you to a vascular surgeon, and suddenly you're being told you should consider a procedure, like a carotid endarterectomy or a stent. But if you had no symptoms, no dizziness, no vision changes, no weakness, these procedures might offer little benefit, and they carry real risks. In fact, a major study published in the New England Journal of Medicine followed over 3,000 seniors who had moderate carotid narrowing but no symptoms. The researchers found that in many cases, surgery did not reduce stroke risk significantly more than medication and lifestyle changes. And more troubling, a small percentage of patients who underwent surgery actually experienced strokes as a direct result of the procedure, either during surgery or in recovery. One story that really hits home comes from Helen, 82, from Pennsylvania. She went in for a checkup, felt perfectly fine, and had a carotid ultrasound because her doctor just wanted to be thorough. It showed 65% narrowing. She was sent for surgery within weeks. Sadly, during the procedure, she suffered a small stroke. She survived, but now lives with partial weakness on her right side. She told us, "I wish I'd known that doing nothing might have been safer." So, what should you do? If your doctor suggests a carotid ultrasound and you have no symptoms, ask, "What are we looking for? And what happens if we find it?" Make sure you understand whether the scan is likely to change your treatment or simply cause worry. If you're already on blood pressure meds, cholesterol drugs, and living a healthy lifestyle, extra tests may not change much. And if you've already had a scan that showed some narrowing, don't panic. Ask about repeat scans instead of jumping to surgery. And always get a second opinion before undergoing any vascular procedure. Let's wrap this up with some warm advice and a gentle reminder that your health is in your hands. So here's the bottom line. Not every test is dangerous, but not every test is necessary either. Especially after 60, our bodies respond differently. What seems routine, like a contrast dye, sedative, or scan, can have ripple effects we don't always see coming. A simple injection might spike your blood pressure. A scan might trigger a reaction. Even a quick checkup can carry risks if your system is already vulnerable. That's why it's so important to pause, ask questions, and make sure every test fits your health needs, not just a checklist or protocol. You have every right to speak up. To ask, is this really essential? To say, can we explore a safer alternative? Because informed decisions lead to better outcomes and peace of mind. Your health story matters. Your voice matters. And here, we believe every choice should be guided by knowledge, not fear or habit. If you've ever felt strange after a scan or test, or watched a loved one go through something unexpected, drop a 1 in the comments. If not, post a 0. Let's share, connect, and learn together. And if this video helped you feel a little more aware, more in control, or just more curious, subscribe to Health 365. We're here to uncover the truth, ask the hard questions, and always put your well-being first. Did you know that one of the biggest silent threats to people over 60 isn't just heart disease or diabetes, but poor blood circulation? And what's even scarier, this can quietly build up over years without any signs, until a stroke suddenly hits. Every year in the US, nearly 800,000 people experience a stroke, and for many, it could have been prevented with just a few small daily habits. Now, I'm not talking about intense workouts or complex routines. What if I told you that just 40 seconds a day, yes, less than a minute, could help boost your circulation, protect your brain, and even lower your risk of stroke? Sounds too simple, right? But it's real. And the best part? These are gentle movements anyone can do, especially those of us past our 60s. This video isn't about overwhelming you with medical jargon. We're going to walk through 6 easy positions, each backed by real science, that can make a big difference in how your heart and brain stay healthy. I'll guide you through them, one by one, and you'll see how simple, everyday actions can bring about powerful changes. These aren't magic tricks. They're smart, practical choices tailored for your body's needs as it ages. So, are you ready to find out what they are? If you're someone who wants to stay sharp, independent, and vibrant, hit that subscribe button to follow Health 365. And if you're curious, type 1 in the comments, or 0 if you think it's all just hype. Let's jump into the first technique together. It might surprise you how much it can do. Imagine you're getting ready for a nap or heading to bed for the night. Instead of lying flat on your back, try this. Roll gently onto your left side. That's it. This small shift in position can make a big difference, especially if you're over 60. You see, when you lie on your left side, your heart doesn't have to work as hard. There's a large vein called the inferior vena cava. It's like a highway that carries blood from your lower body back up to your heart. And that vein runs along the right side of your spine. When you lie on your left, you take pressure off that vein, making it easier for your blood to flow smoothly. Your heart gets a little break, and your circulation improves, particularly toward your brain. Now, you might be wondering, does this really matter? Well, here's where it gets interesting. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine found that people who sleep on their left side showed better blood flow to the brain and experienced fewer episodes of interrupted breathing at night, a condition known as sleep apnea. For older adults, that's a big deal. Poor oxygen flow during sleep doesn't just make you tired the next day. It's a known risk factor for stroke and heart issues. And think about it. This isn't hard to do. You don't need special equipment or fancy routines, just your bed and a comfortable pillow. Next time you settle down for a nap or drift off at night, try turning to your left. If you're someone who often wakes up with a racing heart or morning dizziness, this simple shift might help you sleep more peacefully and wake up feeling steadier. Plus, side sleeping, especially on the left, can even reduce snoring in some people, which might not only help you, but also your partner sleep better. In fact, Researchers at the Cleveland Clinic note that left-side sleeping promotes better lymphatic drainage and can aid digestion overnight too. It's like a chain reaction. Your heart pumps easier, your brain gets more oxygen, your nerves calm down, and your body functions better overall. So tonight, before you turn off the light, remember this tiny change. It's gentle, it's easy, and it could quietly become one of the best habits you add to your evening routine. Now, let's look at something you can do even while you're just sitting down at the table or on the couch watching your favorite show. Whether you're reading, watching your favorite show, or enjoying a meal, your sitting posture plays a bigger role in your health than you might think. But here's the key. The way you sit can either help your circulation or quietly hurt it. The trick is to sit up straight with your feet flat on the floor, forming a right angle at your knees. That's it. Keep your back gently straight, not stiff, and make sure your feet aren't tucked under or dangling. When you sit this way, you're helping your blood flow evenly throughout your body, especially down to your legs and up to your brain. This position reduces pressure on your arteries and veins, keeping your circulation smooth and steady. Think of your blood vessels like a garden hose. If you kink the hose, water struggles to get through. Slouching or crossing your legs does the same thing to your circulation. It slows the flow, especially to your lower limbs. Over time, that can cause numbness, swelling, or even raise your risk of developing blood clots in your legs, also known as deep vein thrombosis. In fact, a study from the American Heart Association highlights that prolonged poor sitting posture can significantly impact vascular health, especially in older adults. People who sat with good posture showed more stable blood pressure and less pooling of blood in their legs compared to those who slouched or sat with legs crossed. And for us over 60, that matters even more, since our veins already work harder to return blood to the heart. Here's a simple habit to build. Every time you sit down, at the table, in your favorite recliner, or even at a restaurant, check your posture. Are your shoulders relaxed? Is your back supported? Are your feet flat and your knees at a 90-degree angle? Adjust gently. Even small corrections can add up over time. And if you find yourself sitting for long periods, don't forget to shift slightly every 30 minutes or so, or do a light stretch. These little check-ins keep your blood moving and your muscles happy. The beauty is, you're not adding something new. You're just making what you already do better for your body. Next, we're going to stand up for a moment, literally, and try a gentle wall posture that helps your neck, your shoulders, and most importantly, your blood flow to the brain. Let's check that out together. Let's take a moment to stand up and stretch. Gently. Here's a posture you can do anytime, anywhere, and it takes less than a minute. Just find a wall. Stand with your back against it, heels about an inch away, and gently press your lower back, shoulders, and the back of your head to touch the wall. Now, lift your chin slightly, like you're elongating your neck toward the ceiling. Feel that? That's your neck and spine aligning, and it's doing more than just improving posture. It's helping blood get where it needs to go. You see, as we age, tension often builds up around the neck and upper shoulders. This tension can compress the carotid arteries. Those are the major blood vessels that deliver oxygen-rich blood to your brain. Even mild chronic tightness in this area can reduce blood flow, leading to lightheadedness, fatigue, or even brain fog. A clinical review in Frontiers in Neurology found that cervical muscle tension can significantly impact cerebral blood flow, especially in older adults. That's right. Tight neck muscles aren't just uncomfortable. They can make you feel foggy or dizzy because your brain isn't getting the circulation it needs. This simple wall technique helps in two big ways. First, it gently stretches those neck and shoulder muscles, relieving built-up tension. Second, It brings awareness to your alignment. You're training your body to maintain better posture naturally, even when you're not near a wall. You don't need to force it or hold it too long. About 40 seconds is plenty. Just breathe deeply while standing there. Feel the back of your head gently press into the wall. Let your shoulders relax down. And if your neck feels tight, give it a gentle tilt side to side afterward. Some people even do this right before bed to release tension from the day, or after long hours at a computer or watching TV. It's a small reset for your nervous system, and it costs nothing. Try it next time you're waiting for the microwave to finish, or while brushing your teeth. It's not about adding extra time to your day. It's about layering better habits into what you already do. And when it comes to protecting your brain's circulation, this one's a keeper. Now, let's shift back to sitting. But this time with a clever little leg trick that helps keep your veins happy. Ready? Settle back into a chair, but this time with a small adjustment that can have a big payoff, especially for your legs. Picture this. You're sitting at your desk, relaxing on the couch, or even enjoying a good book. Now, take a low footstool, a small box, or even a thick cushion, and gently rest your feet on it so your legs are slightly elevated, just a few inches above floor level. That's it. You've just given your circulation a helpful boost. Why does this matter? Well, as we age, our leg veins have to work harder to push blood back up to the heart. Gravity isn't exactly our friend here. When you elevate your legs, even slightly, you reduce pressure on those veins and help blood flow return more easily to your heart. It's a simple act, but one that supports your vascular health in a powerful way. Medical studies, like one published in the Journal of Vascular Surgery, show that leg elevation can significantly reduce venous pressure and prevent fluid buildup in the lower extremities, what we often feel as swelling or heaviness. For people over 60, this swelling isn't just uncomfortable, it's a warning sign. It means blood is pooling instead of flowing, and over time, that can lead to deep vein thrombosis, a condition where dangerous blood clots form in the legs. Think of your veins like a train system. If the blood, the passengers, gets stuck at the station too long, pressure builds up. Elevating your legs opens the tracks and lets the blood move freely again. This posture is especially helpful if you spend long hours sitting, like during travel or working from home. It also benefits folks with varicose veins or a history of leg discomfort. And you don't have to wait for symptoms to start using it. Adding this to your daily routine, even for 40 seconds at a time, can keep things flowing well before any issues appear. One bonus tip? Pair this with a few ankle rolls or gentle toe taps to stimulate your calf muscles. They act like a second heart for your legs, helping push blood upward. It's a small combo move that pays off big over time. Next, we're going to lie back, relax, and take a deep breath, literally. I'll show you a calming technique that doesn't just improve circulation, but also helps you sleep better. Now, let's lie down and do something that's as natural as breathing. Because it is breathing, but not just any kind of breath. We're going to focus on abdominal breathing, sometimes called belly breathing. It's a gentle, restorative technique that can calm your nervous system, improve blood oxygen levels, and even help lower your blood pressure. Here's how to do it. Lie flat on your back, ideally somewhere quiet. Bend your knees slightly if that's more comfortable. Rest one hand on your chest and the other on your belly. Now, take a deep, slow breath through your nose. As you inhale, feel your belly rise. Your hand on your stomach should lift, while the hand on your chest stays mostly still. Then, exhale gently through your mouth, feeling your belly fall. It may feel odd at first, especially if you're used to shallow chest breathing. But this simple shift brings in more oxygen, slows your heart rate, and allows your blood vessels to relax and open up. That means better circulation, especially to the brain and heart. A study from Harvard Medical School found that just a few minutes of deep abdominal breathing can lower systolic blood pressure by up to 10 points in some older adults. That's a big deal, considering high blood pressure is one of the strongest predictors of stroke. And the best part, this technique has no side effects, no cost, and you can do it in bed, on the couch, or even during a short rest. People who practice this kind of breathing before bed often find they sleep more soundly. That's because it helps shift your body out of fight or flight mode and into rest and digest. Your muscles relax, your mind settles, and your blood flows more freely through relaxed vessels, carrying oxygen exactly where it's needed. You don't have to do this for long. Even 40 seconds of deep, mindful breathing can begin to reset your nervous system and improve blood flow. Over time, it becomes second nature, and something you might even look forward to during stressful moments. Next time you lie down for a nap or go to sleep at night, try it. Hand on the belly, slow inhale through your nose, slow exhale through your mouth. It's like a gentle massage for your heart and brain, delivered through breath. And now, for our final technique, we're going to keep lying down, but this time with your feet up in the air. Trust me, your legs and heart are going to love this one. Let's finish with a pose that's both incredibly relaxing and deeply effective, especially for tired legs and a weary heart. It's called Legs Up the Wall, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Lie on your back, scoot your hips close to a wall, and gently raise your legs so they rest upright against the wall's surface. Your arms can rest by your sides or over your belly, whatever feels most natural. Now, just breathe. That's all. Stay there for about 40 seconds. What's happening in your body during that time might surprise you. By elevating your legs above your heart, you're flipping gravity in your favor. Instead of fighting to push blood up from your feet, your veins get a little help. Blood flows back to your heart and brain more easily, reducing pressure in your lower limbs. This position helps prevent blood from pooling in your legs, which can lead to swelling, fatigue, and, more seriously, clot formation. A study in the Journal of Physiological Sciences found that legs-up postures improved venous return and reduced markers of stress in adults over 60. Participants reported feeling more calm, more energized, and even slept better after making this a regular habit. It's a natural way to refresh your entire circulatory system, all while lying down. This technique is especially helpful if you've been on your feet all day, have varicose veins, or experience leg discomfort at night. Some folks even say it helps with digestion and lowers temporary spikes in blood pressure after a stressful day. And it's not just physical. The stillness of this pose creates a moment of peace, a mini mental reset that's good for your heart in every sense. Make it part of your bedtime routine. Dim the lights, put on soft music, and end your day with this quiet act of self-care. Or try it midday if you're feeling sluggish. No need to wait for bedtime. It's a gentle, powerful habit that asks almost nothing from you, but gives a lot in return. And that's the beauty of it. With just 40 seconds, you're inviting circulation to improve, pressure to ease, and your entire body to unwind. No medication, no equipment, just you, your breath, and a little time with your feet up. Now that we've walked through all 6 techniques, let's take a moment to wrap things up and remind ourselves why these tiny habits matter so much. You ready for the closing? So here we are, just 6 simple postures, each one taking less than a minute, yet together they create a quiet, powerful routine that supports your heart, your brain, and your peace of mind. None of these moves require fancy tools or perfect health. They meet you exactly where you are, right in your living room, on your couch, or by your bed. And maybe that's the most hopeful part. It doesn't take a dramatic overhaul to protect your health. It just takes showing up for yourself in small, steady ways. One breath, one stretch, one gentle shift at a time. You deserve to feel strong, clear-headed, and calm. You deserve to move through each day without fear of the silent risks that often come with age. So tonight, or maybe even right now, choose one of these habits and try it. See how it feels. And if it brings a little relief, a little calm, keep coming back to it. This is your time, and your health is worth every second. If this video helped you or reminded you to care for yourself just a bit more gently today, let us know in the comments. Drop a 1 if you're going to try even one of these tips tonight. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button to stay with us here at Health 365. We've got more coming, always with care,